Hello and welcome to bass part 3 of 3. In the first two tutorials I looked firstly at sound design on how to make bass sounds, and in the second one I looked at layering and processing, and so this one is on bass structure. If you haven't watched parts 1 and 2, I suggest going back to watch those, as they can hopefully help you in producing a hardcore banger in 2018. So far in the first few tutorials we were using just a standard offbeat bass, which is kind of a signature for UK hardcore really, but as the genre's progressed, lots of other influences been from other genres have kind of come into the genre, and so now it's kind of a lot more open, and there's a lot more you can do with bass lines to get a different groove, a different vibe, or take inspiration from other genres. The first one that kind of I wanted to mention is just the Sidechain Bass. So everything I'm doing, I'm using the same bass patches from the first two tutorials, same effects and everything like that. And I just wanted to show you kind of a couple of different ways of doing a Sidechain Bass. So the first one, you wouldn't actually do that because you don't want the bass playing over the kick like this. Kind of sounds like a shit gabba track. So what you would do ideally is, there's a few different ways you can do it. The first one is to just add a really simple LFO kind of tool in. I'm going to use Kickstarter. This plugin's really good. It's like £8 as well, and I pretty much use it on loads of stuff. And that will just give like this Kickstart plugin kind of just gives like a sidechain compression effect. So now I've added this on, turn it on, and it gives the kind of pumping effect. So when I play that with the kick, and there you go. That's kind of then you can also do it slightly more subtly, so that there's still an overlap over the kick. And that's what I prefer to do. So I wouldn't have it full on sidechained. I'd just have the kick can breathe there, and then the sidechain kind of comes in here. Now, if you don't have this plugin or anything like that, don't worry, because you can still structure your bass kind of how you want. And then if you highlight the kind of bit you want, you can just use a volume automation tool like this, and we'll just do it ourselves, which is slightly more long-winded, which is why I don't do it. But so that's two ways of doing it. Obviously this way is slightly more long-winded, but you know, if you don't have the an LFO tool to kind of help you, then not to worry, and you can just do that then, and there you go. I'm kind of just realised the sub wasn't playing. There you go. And so that's kind of couple of different side chain methods. Next up, I'm going to be showing you a triplet bass. So to get that kind of triplet sound, it's like some like old Eurodance kind of clublandy stuff had it. I think Darren Styles and Ultrabeat Disco Lights is one that comes to mind, which has got this kind of like bouncy vibe. That's kind of how you get that. Ultimately, you can. I don't personally like that in tunes, but you know, it is something you can kind of do as a midsection or something like that. Can have a kind of cool vibe to like switch it up a little bit. And next up, we're going to be looking at a rolling bass, which is something I absolutely love. So for this one, I've got my Naz preset from my track, which I'll be showing people how to make a kind of like proper hard sigh bass in a future tutorial. And so I put the time signature back onto the 4 there. Again, this is a kind of bass you need like you need an LFO tool or a side chain kind of just to kind of duck out the first note on each one there. So if I play this, so I've added no effects onto this sound, so it doesn't sound very good, but this tutorial was more about kind of the actual structure as opposed to how it sounds, the sound design of it. Sounds a little bit better there in higher key, you can kind of tell. So without the I personally think obviously this is the kind of thing that they do in freeform as well. I kind of like this vibe slightly slower around 160. I'm not going to lie. I feel like you can feel the bass notes a little bit more coming through the mix. However, the freeform guys nail it, to be honest, so they get it right. And then another type of rolling bass is on a triplet, which is another one I absolutely love as well. So similar to the triplet offbeat, we're changing the time signature to kind of give like a kind of bouncy effect to the tune. Kind of tribally psytrance effect. It's really popular in psytrance, that sound. And my track Naz is probably the one that comes to mind in hardcore that's got that vibe. And I prefer that style to the actual one on the 4/4 time signature. I just feel like, I don't know, it gives the notes come through better on a triplet, and it gets you get a really nice different sounding track as well. Obviously, when you do something in a time signature of 1/3 on triplets like we're looking at now, you need to move all your percussion. Everything needs to change, because like if I play the kick and the hi-hat, for instance, like that, it doesn't work because it's not on the same time signature. So you need to adjust everything to kind of go with the flow of the vibe. That's kind of the best bit of advice I've got for that anyway. So yeah, that's it really for like the kind of bass structures. I'm sure that there are more, and if you can think of any, let me know. I'm kind of just going through the ones that I like to use in my tracks, and it's just a way of switching things up other than the kind of the constant offbeat bass that we all know and love. It's nice to sometimes switch your tracks up, in mid-sections with other bits or things like that. So yeah, that's kind of some different ways you can structure your bass sounds to keep your tracks interesting. I hope this tutorial helped, and if you guys want to add anything, feel free to mention some stuff in the comments, and I'm going to be back very soon with another tutorial. I'm going to be moving away from bass sounds. I'm not sure what yet. Feel free to kind of drop something in. I think leads was probably the most popular thing mentioned in previous tutorials, so I may go over that. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in once again. I appreciate you guys listening and watching kind of the tutorials. And if you'd like to like and subscribe, that would be absolutely brilliant. And tell your producer friends that there's actually someone making tutorials to show people how to make hardcore now. Thank you very much, and I will hopefully see you all soon. Goodbye.